American Express versus Tanaka Car and Ulari LLC.
Good morning, good afternoon, Your Honor. Madge Buckle on behalf of American Express.
Hi, Ms. Buckle. How are you?
I'm good, Your Honor.
All right. And anyone here on behalf of Tanaka Car? I see a Tanaka on the screen. Is that you, Ms. Carr?
Yes, it's Tanika. I'm here.
Tanika. Okay. May I, could you bring your video up for me? All right. So, Ms. Buckle, on behalf of American Express, it is a breach of contracts case. Do you have, I believe, a witness to testify as to damages?
I do, Your Honor. However, before I do that, we sued both Ms. Carr and her business.
Okay.
So
is there an attorney here on behalf of Ulari LLC?
No.
So, Ms. Carr, do you have an attorney representing your business?
No.
So in state court, as a court of record, it's required that if you have a corporation, that the corporation requires that there be an attorney to represent them, such that they can protect the fiduciary interest of any shareholders or any other parties involved in the corporation. But you can represent yourself. So at this time, Ulari LLC is unrepresented, and a default is proper.
So I called to try to get a continuance because I did indicate that I wanted to get counsel, but I was unable to secure at this time. But when I asked, the lady that I spoke to on the phone said that there was going to be no continuance granted. So,
well, ma'am, the breach of contract case was filed in September of 2023. You filed your answer in October of 2023. And so you had plenty of time if counsel was what you wanted to have appear on your behalf. When we get cases, I get cases continually. And so I may get 30 of these cases filed in a day. I can't, once they're filed, they go into the track of, there's discovery that's being done, the parties are talking, but once it gets to the hearing date or the trial date, everybody's going to want a continuance. You've had plenty of time if you were going to engage the services of an attorney prior to today's date.
Okay, I did make an attempt to contact them to talk about the debt, but every time I attempted to talk to them, the only thing that they wanted me to do was confirm that and acknowledge the debt, and figure out how, I was trying to figure out where it came from because I'm unaware. This is not something that I created. So,
okay, so
really sure what else to do from there.
So, generally, these debts are liquidated damages, but they have brought somebody. So, liquidated means that there's a contract, and you know specifically what amounts weren't paid, and there's a specific number. And when they file the case, the number's already known. Generally, when that happens, they'll have an affidavit. Those are liquidated damages. They don't generally have to prove those separately. But today, Ms. Buckle has brought a representative from American Express who can testify as to what is owed. And so once that representative has presented the information, then you have the right as the defendant in this case to ask him any questions that you might have, and also to make a statement on your behalf or present any argument to the court. So you'll have that opportunity. As the plaintiff, they go first because they have to prove their case and they have a burden to prove that case. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So Ms. Buckle, you can go forward.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, just a small opening before I do go forward. Your Honor, this is a personal loan and business loan. Miss Carr was a personal guarantor to this debt. And she actually took out two loans in May of 2022 and July of 2022. She did, American Express did deposit it in her account. She did make some payments until she stopped. The total balance that we're asking for that she owes is $31,785.85. We're asking for court costs of $364.05 for a total of $32,150.90. And my witness will testify accordingly, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Hamilton, raise your right hand for me, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
I do, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hamilton. Ms. Buckle, your witness.
Thanks, Your Honor. Could you please state your full name for the court?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Sean, spelled Sean, Patrick Hamilton.
And where were you employed?
I'm an assistant custodian of records for American Express,
And how long have you been employed by American Express?
28 years,
And what is your current position?
assistant custodian of records.
Can you explain what you do in that position to the court?
Yes, as the assistant custodian of records, I have a unique user ID and password that gives me access to all of the written documents housed by American Express as they relate to our credit card and loan businesses. That includes card member agreements, loan agreements, the information provided through the application process. As well, I have a working knowledge of how the types of accounts are issued, the loans are issued, and the manner in which we process applications for those types of loans.
So you are familiar with, personally familiar with American Express records?
I am.
And you're familiar with the way American Express keep its records?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And those records are kept in the ordinary course of American Express's business?
Yes, they are.
Okay. The records that I'll be showing you today, those entries are posted at or near the time when they incurred?
Yes, they are.
Okay. I have personally reviewed these accounts today, this before now, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I want Exhibit P1. Your Honor, we did file Exhibit P1 with the court. Okay, can you see that, Your Honor?
I can.
That's okay. This is the first time I'm doing that, so excuse me, Your Honor.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm showing you what is marked Exhibit P1.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, that's the first page.
Yes.
Can you tell the court the date on that document?
Yes, this was dated May 22nd, 2022 at 3:13 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the loan agreement and personal guarantee document for what is known as cabbage funding, also known as blueprint lending. And you can see on the left-hand side under the borrower information, it says the borrower is Ulari LLC with an address in Rex, Georgia. And the business representative and guarantor is Tanika Carr. On the right-hand side, it shows that the lender is American Express National Bank.
Okay, and how much amount, what's the disbursement amount that was given to her?
Yes, we lent her an amount of $18,200 with a 12-month term to make monthly installments. And if she did make those installments, the total repayment amount would have been $19,292, which includes the loan fees and finance charges.
Okay. Okay, let's go to loan purpose. Can you explain that to the court?
Yes, it says you and the business representative represent and warn that the loan will be used solely for business purposes, and it is indicated in your application, and not for consumer, personal, family, or household purposes. You and the business representative represent and warn that you will not use the loan to fund dividends or distributions to your shareholders, partners, members, or other owners of an equity interest in your business. This loan is not a consumer transaction as defined in the UCC.
Okay. Business representative number 3, can you explain that to the court?
Yes, it says you, which is Tanika Carr, as the business representative, understand and agree that you're entering into this loan agreement on behalf of the borrower, and you are executing a personal guarantee in your individual capacity. Business representative personally and unconditionally guarantees the performance of all the covenants of borrower in this loan agreement, including but not limited to the borrower contractual covenants herein and borrower's payment obligations herein.
Okay. Going down here, explain she promised to pay to the court.
Yes, It says you promise to pay the disbursement amount shown above, plus cost as defined below, plus all other amounts that may become due under this loan agreement. The total minimum monthly payment and payment due date, as such terms are defined below, are shown on each monthly statement that we send you. You must pay each total minimum monthly payment by the payment due date, even if you do not receive a monthly statement. You may not apply any credits you have or any American Express accounts or on any account you have with any American Express affiliate to your loan balance.
Okay. With the advent of default, she defaulted on the payments, right?
Yes, unfortunately, she did not pay this balance in full.
Okay. Did she sign this account?
These loans are all filled out online. Everything is done electronically. When you apply for an account, American Express utilizes several pieces of data that are presented in the application, including her personal information, social security number, telephone number, IP address, and even the bank account that they're asking us to deposit the money into. We verify with national databases that the information links back to not only the individual, but the company.
Okay.
Pardon me one second.
And this document that you just testified to the court, these are American Express records pertaining to this defendant, right?
That's correct. And if you see on the page that you're showing where her name is printed, Tanika Carr, and the date, May 22nd, 2022 at 3:13 p.m., that is her electronic signature.
Okay.
So what happens when they make an application, we review everything, and if the information that we received appears to be legitimate, then we send the physical copy of this to the defendant to review. And if they choose to accept the terms and conditions and want us to fund the loan, then they have to sign it electronically, which this was done.
And this is our first loan from American Express. That's correct.
Yes. Yeah. So the blueprint loans or the cabbage loans, we establish a line of credit, and then the borrower can tell us how much of that line of credit they wish to utilize. So if we gave her a $50,000 line of credit and she only wanted to borrow $30,000, she could borrow $30,000. But if 2 months later she wanted to borrow another 10 or another 20, that would be available to her as long as this loan was still in good standing.
Mhm. Your Honor, I would like to tender Exhibit P1 into evidence.
Ms. Carr, any objection to P1 being admitted into the record of the court?
P1 is the paper?
It's what she has just presented and has been testified to on the screen.
Well, I don't want to admit it. I never signed that.
Okay, no, it's not you admitting to the veracity or truthfulness of the document. It is whether you are in a opposition to the court considering it as an exhibit and it being admitted into the court's record. Two separate things.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to admit it into the court's record to be considered because I didn't do it.
Okay. The basis of the document, there's nothing objectionable that I can find to it, and you haven't raised an issue. I get that you don't agree with what the document says, but that doesn't mean that it is not authentic. But if you wish to have an additional foundation laid, that she has laid the foundation that allows the court to accept the document because it was a document kept in the normal course of business by American Express. Okay, so over your objections, the court is going to admit plaintiff's exhibit number 1. Okay, but to be clear that when it's time for you to ask questions of this witness, you may also refer to this document and the contents of the document. Okay.
Okay.
All right. You may continue, Ms. Buckle.
Okay, I'm going to introduce Exhibit P2.
Okay.
Mr. Hamilton, can you explain to the court what that is?
Yes, like I said earlier, we issue a line of credit and then the individual and the company can request up to 8 draws against that line of credit. So the first loan was issued in May of 22, and a second request for funding was done on July 1st of 2022. At that time, we issued a loan amount of $25,500 to be paid in 18 months over time with a total repayment of $27,795. The $22,995 is the loan fees and the interest if you take the full 18 months to pay it off.
Okay, and just to your attention up here, is the same address?
Yes. Georgia, the business representative and guarantor is Tanika Carr. The name of the company is Ulari LLC.
And which bank did American Express distribute the money into?
Navy Federal Credit Union.
And American Express distributed the money to this bank on both loans, right?
That is correct.
Okay. Does this agreement basically say the same thing that the first agreement says?
It does.
It does?
Yes.
And this agreement, are American Express document pertaining to this defendant, right?
That is correct.
Your Honor, put into evidence exhibit P2.
All right, Ms. Carr, same thing. Do you have any objection to this this document being admitted into the court's record? You can also use it if you wish to upon your opportunity to cross-examine the witness.
Okay.
Okay, it will be admitted without objection.
Okay, Your Honor, I am going to.
I'm sorry?
Even if I object, the last time I objected, it still went in anyway, so I don't
Yeah,
think.
I can admit it over your objection because you're objecting as to the contents of the document and whether they're truthful. The document is being admitted because the plaintiff has presented the document as a business record kept in the normal course of business by American Express. Now, if you have something that shows that their business record is incorrect, you have more than an ample opportunity to present that. However, the way it works procedurally, and which is why it's always it might have been helpful for you to consult an attorney, is because there are procedural rules that the court can follow, and evidentiary rules that the court can follow, that if you haven't been trained in those rules, it's going to be difficult for you to understand. If you have some objection to the content or the truthfulness and you have evidence to counteract what's presented, then by all means, when you have the opportunity to speak or to examine Mr. Hamilton and ask him questions, you can present that information. But for now, it is sufficient for the court to understand that there's someone from the company to testify that this record was kept as a normal business practice. Okay. All right. Continue, Ms. Buckle.
Okay, Mr. Hamilton, I'm showing you what is marked exhibit P5. Can you explain to the court what these documents are? Sean, you have your audio.
You got to unmute for me, Mr. Hamilton.
I'm sorry. This is a monthly account statement. So once an account is applied for and the loan is funded, American Express provides monthly account statements based on the balance that's owed and the minimum monthly payment, and lays out all of the finance charges and things if they were to pay it off early. So this was the very first statement that began May 10th of 2022 with a zero balance.
Okay. And this is the second statement. Explain this one to the court.
Yes, this is the second statement dated June 20th of 2022, and it reflects that the first loan of $18,200 was funded, and it's a request for the first month's installment of $1,653.17 with a payment due date of July 11th, 2022.
Okay. And does this explain to her the direct deposit and the repayment period?
Yes, the direct deposit loan number is the account where we put the money into.
Okay.
The Navy Federal Credit Union account.
Okay. Can you explain this statement to the court?
Yes, this statement is dated July 20th of 2022. It shows that there was a previous balance from the first loan left of $18,336.50, and a new loan was funded of $25,500. And that now the next month's minimum due payment for the two loans combined is $3261.09, and it would need to be paid by August 10th, 2022. And the balance of the two loans combined is $42,511.08.
Okay. And this is the following, no, this is the same thing.
There's something wrong with that.
This is the following statement. Does it show any payments on the account?
This is the August statement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you scroll down. August of 2022. It shows the total minimum amount due is $3261.09, and we received a payment and credit on the left-hand side under the summary for the previous month's payment of $3261.09. And now the new balance has dropped to $39,577.74 as a result of that payment.
Okay. I'm going to take you to the statement that is December 20, 2022. She basically made several payments. That's correct, right?
Yes, there were payments made on the account. I believe I testified there was the total amount was a little over 42,000. Now we're down to $31,700. So between the two loans, approximately $11,000 was repaid.
Okay.
So this statement reflects the last payment that was received by American Express on the account.
Mm-hmm.
On the transaction summary dated January 2nd, 2023, we received a payment of $56.70.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the balance was $31,016.50.
So that was below minimum due. Is that correct?
Yes, because the minimum due payment was $3270.09, plus there was 2 months past due of $6,096.46. So on this month's statement, in order to bring the account current, she would have needed to pay $9,366.55.
Okay. Let me take you to the final statement.
Yes, this is the final statement from last month. American Express will continue to generate a statement as long as the balance is still outstanding. And it reflects that the total amount due at this time is $31,785.85.
And that is what we're asking for today. That's correct, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. And this document is American Express record pertaining to this defendant. Is that correct?
Yes, Ulari LLC was the company and Tanika Carr is the individual.
Your Honor, tender exhibit P5 into evidence. I do not have any more questions for Mr. Hamilton at this time.
Can't hear you, Judge.
Sorry about that. Ms. Carr, I will admit P5, and Ms. Carr, based on the information and testimony that Mr. Hamilton has given at this time, including the documents that have been admitted into the record of the court, you have the opportunity to ask any questions regarding this matter that you have. I would just suggest at this point that you ask questions of Mr. Hamilton. And if you want to make any statements or arguments, just hold off on that for right now until it's time for you to present your side of the case.
Can he show me the bank account, for where it went? Cause it doesn't, on the document, it doesn't show where it went.
Yes, the document was redacted so that anybody else that's sitting on the call cannot see your personal information. Your Honor, if with her permission, I'm fine releasing the bank account number.
Ma'am, you may need to consider if this is an account that is currently open, that this hearing
It's
is
not
being
my
broad.
account. I don't,
Okay,
it
Ms. Carr,
can't
hold on
be.
a second, ma'am. This hearing is currently being broadcast, and so if there was an account open in your name and for Ulari LLC, then this information, if you're asking for him to state the entire account number, it's going to be available to whomever is watching on YouTube, and it's also going to be saved in the court's records. And so if you are willing to waive your right to privacy with respect to the account number, he can give it to you. But that's up to you, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
You can
I-
release the name of the institution and the account number.
Sure, it went to Navy Financial Credit Union, and I'll just say that the last four digits of the account number, Your Honor, were, pardon me, 40.
Okay.
All right. Did you have another question, Ms. Carr?
No, I'm going, no, hold on one second. Let me take a second to consider if I have another question before, say I don't. Months 0540. Okay, and then we said, before I asked to see the document where I physically signed, you said, did he have a document that I signed?
It's not an ink signature, and it's an electronic signature where you check a I agree to the terms box, and then you type in your name. It's what's considered a digital signature. And those are both on the loan agreements that we showed earlier, P1 and P2.
Okay. So the answer is no, there's no physical signature that you have from me personally, correct?
There is not a pen and ink signature for this type of loan.
Okay.
And to be honest, none of the accounts that we issue in this day and age, do people provide an actual physical, I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to sign my name on the document. It's all done electronically, and the agreements that we have state when you enter into this type of a loan or a credit card, that when you use the funds provided, that you agree to the terms of the contract.
All right. I think she said that I wouldn't argue that point that information at this time, whether I did or didn't use it. But let me, do you have, like my ID or any identification verification that I sent in to you?
The information that was provided was your name, your address.
No, my question was, do you have my ID or information that I would have sent in to you?
Yes, through the application process, we received a date of birth, social security.
No, my
number.
identification card. I understand the public information that you have. I'm asking, do you have any supporting documents like my identification that would have been able to validate my signature or anything else that you have?
No, we validated all of the information that was received. But we
Okay,
didn't
so
ask
no.
you to give us a copy of your driver's license if that's what you're asking.
Okay. So no signature, account number, no ID. Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor, for the hesitation. I'm not sure what I can and can't ask, so I'm a little hesitant. But I think that's all I have for him in regards to the information that's presented so far. is that staying in the lines of what I have the ability to ask right now?
Hello? Okay, so I'm in on my phone.
Oh,
Cause
sorry.
have some kind of glitch on is there anybody else here?
I can hear you.
Okay, Ms. Powell?
I can hear you, Your Honor.
Okay, good. So everybody is here. I'm trying to get back on my computer, but something went haywire. So, all right. So, Ms. Carr, I was asking you if you had any questions, any other questions of Mr. Hamilton regarding the testimony that he gave.
I did ask him a few questions. I don't know if you heard them, but I just wanted to clarify that was.
The only question I heard was you asked for him to give the I guess the account location and the account number, and so I heard that, and then it went crazy.
Okay, so I asked him if he had a physically signed document from myself, for this, and he did not. And I did ask him if he also had any, if he had received any documentation from me, like identification or anything, supporting, proving who I was or who the person was that took this out, but he did not. So those were, I think, my only questions, if I stayed in the lines where you wanted me to be so far.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would like you to hear my answers and not her. You did not.
I will take your answers. Go ahead.
Thank you. She asked me if American Express had a pen and ink signature on the loan agreement. And I explained that no, that these accounts are applied for online. And then in today's world, pen and ink signatures on agreements are almost obsolete. When American Express receives the loan, like I previously said, we take into consideration all of the information. And if we think there's anything suspect about the application, we're looking at the information provided, the IP address that's utilized to apply for the loan, several pieces of information that we're verifying with national databases. We don't fund the loan, and we would ask for them to provide us with a physical copy of their ID.
But you did not have it, correct?
In this case, we did not need to do that because all of the information that we received matched. And then
So,
the second,
Mr. Hamilton, hold on a second, Ms. Carr. Hold on, Ms. Carr. Mr. Hamilton, for my edification, I guess, I know lines of credit, but usually a line of credit is based on a relationship that exists prior to the establishment of the line of credit. And so if it's with a bank, you're already a bank client, you already have accounts with the bank. If it is with a consumer lender or a credit card or generally, like, the person would have to be an American Express card holder prior to then establishing a line of credit. Is that correct?
that is correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
And then the second question that she had asked me is if we had her personal information, which she meant her copy of her driver's license. And my response was no, but we have your date of birth, social security number, the FEIN number for the business. We have the home address that was provided, the email address that was utilized when we were looking at the computer applications that's coming through. All of that information is received by American Express. And again, I don't want to state those items in this public forum.
I got you.
For her security.
All right. Ms. Carr, did you have another question?
I was looking for any supporting documents that they had. I heard the information he collected, but I didn't hear any supporting documents that were given that he has.
I guess his response that generally everything is done on the computer nowadays is the response to that. Did you have another question?
I was looking for documentation because I just wanted some documentation where he got the information from to validate this.
Okay.
No.
All right, did you have any other questions for Mr. Hamilton before I go back to Ms. Buckle?
Did they upload any? I didn't see anything. Let me see.
So any documents for this purpose would have been electronically filed with the Odyssey function that is through the state court clerk's office. So is that what you're looking for?
No, I was looking for documents for the loan that they secured,
Oh,
but I didn't see any. Is there anything?
are you asking Mr. Hamilton?
Yes. Does he have any documents that they secured for the loan?
I don't understand your question. I'm sorry.
Any type of physical documents proving that this was taken by me? That's what I'm asking. What
All of the
besides the
information,
electronic stuff, like somebody sitting at a computer, did you have anything physical collected to validate this that you can show me?
all of the information that's provided in the application process is verified for possible fraud through the application process itself.
I
So-
understand that, but that
So-
wasn't the question.
Well, if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm filling out an application, the only thing,
Hold on just a second. Let
I'm
me,
sorry.
My phone's gonna die.
all right, I'm back. All right, go ahead, Mr. Hamilton. I'm sorry.
So if I'm filling out an application at my computer, it's not like I'm at the car dealership and I'm gonna hand you my driver's license and a credit card for a down payment, or all of the information that we received related to you and the business was verified that it is accurate through national databases and for fraud prevention software.
So there was no documentation uploaded or provided from myself that you can provide me now, correct?
Well, again,
Your
I don't
Honor,
want
Your Honor, I will object. That's asked and answered. She had asked him the same question several times.
Because he's
Yeah.
not answering the question.
Well, he actually has, Ms. Carr. I understood his answer. And I think maybe,
So he doesn't have any
So,
documentation.
let me
Is
ask
that-
you what, so
Am I
you're
wrong?
asking for, so if you are communicating with someone by, through the computer, you're asking, is there anything that I emailed you or took a picture of and sent you, or something physical that you had to look at that you received from me? Is that your question?
Correct. That's my
Okay.
question.
Mr. Hamilton?
the answer is no.
Okay.
We utilize the data
I
that was
understand. I got that part, Mr. Hamilton. Thank you. I don't have any other questions at this time about that part, Judge.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Buckle, any redirect?
Yes, yes, Your Honor. The account that both funds were deposited in, Mr. Hamilton,
yes.
that's the account that it was automatic payments towards the account, right?
So yes, so in the application process, the account that you're asking for us to deposit the money in, we verify with the bank that that account is legitimate and that the person requesting the loan has access to that account. And it's a fraud prevention measure. And so the NFCU account that we deposited the funds into was verified before we ever fund the loans. And then the payments that came back came from that account. So,
And one of the things that the bank also verified is the defendant's address, right? In addition to our social security number and other stuff. That's correct.
exactly.
Okay. No more questions, Your Honor.
Let me ask this. So the statements that you've presented, the P5 that shows the first statement with the zero balance and the subsequent statements where payments were made, was that statement communicated via computer, like an email, or was it actually mailed? Were the invoices mailed to the address?
So when you sign up for this type of an account, everything is done electronically.
Okay.
The loan agreements, the application, the statements, the payments, it's all electronic.
And did you have a record of where the payments came from?
Yes, the NFCU account, because they're set up as automatic drafts.
Okay, so she wouldn't have had to do anything, or whoever took out the loan, because I don't want to make any assumptions, they wouldn't have had to do anything affirmative to make the payment. It would have come out automatically from the account.
Unless they go in subsequent to the loan being funded and say, I want to pay more this month, or I want to pay early this month, the payments would get drawn on the payment due date.
So the only way that the payments would fail, per your testimony, is that the account was underfunded.
If there weren't funds in the account to make the payment, then they would be returned for insufficient funds, just like if it was a regular check. But once that happens, once a payment isn't received or a payment is returned, then the automatic drafts stop, because it could create a nightmare for a customer if, let's say, they made a deposit from one of their customers and that check bounced, and we kept trying to collect on an account that did have negative funds because of no fault of their own. So once a transaction doesn't go through, it stops.
Okay, and at the point that there's a perceived default, what action does American Express take?
So once the account goes into default and the payments stop, we continue to send communications to the customer with regard to the past due balance. If I'm not mistaken, Ms. Buckle's office provided those to the court with the initial documents. There were 3 letters.
Okay. All right, Ms. Buckle, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to horn in on your time, but I don't get to sit often as the trier of fact. So sometimes I just need a little bit more clarification.
Okay. Yeah, I did. There was an exhibit P3 that I didn't present based on that, but just Your Honor, I just want to point my witness to this statement, because he was explaining to you when it comes to insufficient funds.
Yes.
And can you explain this statement? It's dated
Yes. This statement is dated just a little more.
11, yeah.
It's a statement closing date 12/20/22. And if you look under the summary, transaction summary on the left, you'll see 12/14/22, the payment from 12/11/2022 in the amount of $3261.09 from the checking account ending in 0540 went through the automatic clearinghouse and was returned for insufficient funds. And you can see on the line underneath that it was an automatic draft. So like I previously said, when you sign up for these loans, the money that we deposit the funds into, the account we deposit the funds into, is the same account that we draw the drafts for repayment from. So we deposited approximately $43,000 and we received back approximately $11,000.
Okay. Your Honor, you were exhibit P3. Let me find that.
Your Honor, is it okay to ask questions about this information?
You at the point where I asked if you had any more questions, you said you didn't. Did you have?
I didn't have any more questions for him about the documentation, but I have questions about this payment information that he is.
Well, he's the person to ask
on the paperwork.
Yeah, he's the person to ask about all this paperwork. So if there's a question that you have regarding any of these exhibits that have been
that
admitted,
last paper that he just showed.
Okay, can we go back to the default notice or the incident of default?
Oh,
the insufficient funds you talk.
Yeah, whatever. whenever the account, I guess the loan became in default, which I guess was this. Go down to that. No, you
So-
just passed it.
Before we go to the end, I just want to make sure because the paper that she was just showing was the end, but at the very beginning, she said, or she showed a paper, and he said they deposited 18 something into an account.
Yeah, there's two
Nobody made a
loans.
payment.
So, Ms. Card,
And
what I'm understanding is there's two loans. One was made May
Right.
23rd of 2022. That's $18,200. The second loan was made July 1st of 2022.
my
That's
question.
$25,500.
because he said, yeah. So I'm not agreeing to that. I'm agreeing with you saying, yes, they said two loans. But I'm trying to figure out how they funded a second loan when they said they didn't get a payment for the first loan. So on the paper, she said,
That's a question for Mr. Hamilton.
Mr. Hamilton,
When the second loan was funded, the payments were being made on the first loan.
you said there was no payment made. How
That
do I
was
get to the paper that she had
that was the December
P1 when you
2022.
were going down?
Hold on, Ms. Carr. Y'all can't talk at the same time. So you wanted P1 or the one where there was a zero balance after the loan was funded, that first invoice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's take us there with Ms. Buckle.
P1, Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh, no, P1 is the agreement. You
Oh,
mean,
okay. No, then I guess it was
the first statement.
the first statement under P5.
I thought she showed.
There we go. All right.
There you go.
This was from May of 2022. This was the statement that was issued before the first loan was funded.
Before the first loan. Okay,
Yes.
can we see the next one?
Yes. This statement reflects under the summary of account activity that the $18,200 was funded and that the minimum payment of $1,653.17 would be due by July 11th of 2022.
July 11.
So, Mr. Hamilton, question. On this statement, if there was a credit card, the American Express credit card, and if that card was in use, would any balance from that card appear on this summary?
No, these are totally separate accounts. They don't get commingled.
Okay. And do you have any information about the status of the underlying American Express card account that
No,
would have been established?
No, Your Honor, I did not review that.
Okay.
And then I feel like I'm missing something. Okay, may I see the next statement, please? The next one past the July.
So on this statement, we received a payment of $1,653.17. Both of the loans were funded at this point. You see the $18,336.50 was left from the first loan, and then the $25,500 was added. There were costs and fees, and then when the payment was deducted, the balance was $42,511.08. And then the payment due was $810.22. So that statement that you were looking at that showed the return amount, that was from December of 2022. That was after the loans were funded.
Okay. And you said this came out of an account ending in 0540, correct?
That's correct.
Well, that's not my Navy Federal account. That's
Just ask questions at this time. You don't have to make any statements until such time as if you wish to testify. That's fine, but just ask questions right now.
I'm sorry, I don't know what question to ask. Give me a second.
Were you deployed at any point during this period of time, Ms. Carr? I'm just asking.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have any other questions, or did you, Ms. Buckle may have some questions? for Mr. Hamilton?
I do, Your Honor. I was going back to Exhibit P3.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Hamilton, I'm showing you what is Exhibit P3. Can you explain
Yes.
what that is?
So these are the letters that were provided through the electronic process to Ms. Carr. And it devises that, as previously indicated, a payment of $6,096.46 is past due on the Ulari LLC's American Express business line of credit account. Now your total minimum amount due is, including the past due, is $9,366.55. It states, if you bring the account up to date, you may be able to regain access to the American Express business line of credit. However, if you don't make the payment, the business line of credit could be permanently closed, which is what happened in this case. And it also notifies them that not making the payment could negatively impact their personal credit bureau, as well as the Small Business Financial Exchange, which is a commercial reporting agency. That this was the third letter, and there were two more. One when the amount was 1 month past due, 2 months past due, and 3 months past due.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Buckle? I'll admit P3 under the business records. Anything else, Ms. Buckle?
I'm sorry,
right.
Your Honor. I got knocked
That's
off.
okay, Ms. Buckle. I've been having some connectivity issues too. We're having a thunderstorm.
Yes.
So that's been an issue. All right. So the letters were presented. I think that's where we were. I don't know if you heard when I asked if there was any information about the underlying credit card, if those amounts or any balance on the underlying credit card would have been reported on these invoices. And Mr. Hamilton said, no, that's separate. And so there's no information regarding the underlying American Express account.
Okay.
So that was what I was asking. All right. And Ms. Buckle, did you have anything else at this time?
No, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So Ms. Carr, you're able to present at this time if you have any witnesses that you wish to testify on your behalf, or if you wish to testify on your own behalf, you may do so at this time. Did you wish to to present any testimony at this time?
I just got my Navy Federal.
Okay, that's not the question I asked you. Do you wish to present testimony or evidence on your behalf at this time?
Yes.
All right, raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. All right, you can tell me anything you want me to know about this situation.
I just pulled up my Navy Federal account number, and it's not that number that he gave. I don't want to give the number. But is that evidence that I can like?
So this is the question that I have, since I got to decide this case. So essentially what I'm hearing from you is you think that someone else took out this account and it was not you.
Correct.
Okay. So, but this account has been pending since 2022. And the statements made by Mr. Hamilton have established that they've been sending I guess invoices, they've had your personal information, all of these things, and they filed a lawsuit that was served. In all of those, in any of those contacts from American Express to you or from the law firm to you, had you in any way, I guess, represented that there was some fraud or an identity theft?
I tried to tell, I don't know who it was. When I called, I got the paper from the court that said that this was going on. Now I called the court and they told me to call them. So I called, and when I got somebody on the phone, nobody would give me any information about the debt. Like there was no like the questions that I was able to ask today, nobody would answer those questions for me. So I told the guy on the phone, he just kept saying, "Do you acknowledge the debt?" And I was like, "No, I can't acknowledge it." And then he was like, "Well, we can't talk to you." So
Okay,
that was kind of
did
like
you,
a closed door. I went to try to make a report at the police, but they said that I didn't have enough information to give them because I didn't. To be honest, I really didn't know what to go and tell them other than the fact that I tried to contact these people and that this debt that I don't know where the debt came from. So I really didn't. They wouldn't let me file like a police report or a police file because they said I didn't have. All I could tell them was that they sent me this paper and they said that I owed this money and that was it. Like,
did you do any research with the Navy Federal?
to be honest, no, I didn't know what to do. Like
They said they got a Navy Federal account in your name and you didn't ask any questions?
I have a Navy Federal account, but that's not my number.
I got that, but you can have more than one account. Did you ask the Navy Federal to give you any information about accounts in your name?
No, I didn't know until just now when he gave those numbers that they weren't, like I can go and ask them now but I didn't know to ask them about
Okay,
another account because I never suspected that there was,
let me ask you this.
I
Do
don't
you
know.
have any connection with Ulari LLC?
Yes.
What connection do you have with that defendant?
So that was just a business that I signed up for. I was doing a credit repair, and I gave the credit repair people my information for that. But that was it.
Okay,
Like I didn't sign up for no money. Like
did
no,
you work with anybody on that?
it was like it was supposed to be like a repaired.
I get what the business is,
Sorry,
credit repair, but did you work with somebody on the business? Like who referred you? Why did you feel comfortable giving them your information?
I signed up. It was like this event to try to help people. Like they was like doing like a community. And I just signed like the initial paperwork. Like they collect your information. They're supposed to call you and talk to you about it and help you figure out what you can do to get set up. But I never paid them no money, so I didn't never.
So
They said it
let me
costs
ask you
money
this.
to participate in that.
So you set up the name Ulari LLC
Yes,
and you set up that business as an LLC.
yes,
Okay, and so you had somebody on your behalf or you did it yourself, set up the company.
yes.
And the purpose of the company was to do credit repair.
No, that's not that's not the purpose of that company. I gave the credit company the information for the business to try to build the business credit.
I'm sorry, what now?
I gave my business, so my Ulari, I was trying to establish business credit, and I gave the information to. It was a table set up at an event over here in my
So you gave them your EIN
community.
number, you gave them your social security number,
I filled out the
gave
entire
somebody,
paperwork, but I never paid them for the
but you
service. So
gave
I didn't
them,
never.
listen to
I
me,
didn't. It
listen to
was
me.
you were supposed to pay for them to help you establish
Okay,
your business credit. Does that
Miss
make sense?
I get what you're saying to me, but I'm asking you, you gave somebody you met at a table at an event your EIN number and your social security number and all of your information?
Yes, I was signing up. Well, I thought I was signing up for the credit services.
That made sense to you?
Yeah, I was trying to get to be able. I was trying to get help to build my business credit.
So the way you build business credit is to get credit in the business name. Why couldn't you do that yourself?
Unfortunately, I was unfamiliar with how, and these people, they had like a little pitch, they can help you, and in so many months you'll be established and you'll
Have
be
you
able
heard
to.
from them since you signed up?
No, I didn't know.
Is any of this making sense to you? Because I hear bells ringing. You don't seem to be hearing the same bells I'm hearing, but I hear bells ringing.
Yeah, now.
And when you found out about this, you were served with the paperwork and you realized that from your standpoint, you're saying that you didn't owe this debt. Did you establish anything with the credit bureau saying that this is not my debt?
I did try to freeze my credit. I submitted like a form, I guess you would call it, to try to like freeze my credit.
And when you did the police report or attempted to do a police report, you weren't able to give them any information about these people at the table at the place where you gave them all your information.
No. I gave them I could only tell them what I told the people that, like,
The best I can do, ma'am, is you might want to, I'm going to have the rest of the hearing. I'll let Ms. Buckle finish, but you haven't established, you've told me that you gave away your credit information, but you haven't established that these people used your credit. The Ms. Buckle has presented information that she has all of your information and and you're connected to the company and somebody took out a loan, a line of credit on the company. So from your standpoint, they did exactly what you wanted them to do, only they used the credit for their benefit and they took the money. If what you're saying to me is true. But from Ms.
yeah.
Buckle's standpoint, on behalf of her client, they've established everything they need to establish that a
But
debt was
they
a
don't
debt
got
was
no
taken
proof that
out.
I didn't sign nothing for them. I didn't sign anything. I didn't sign no documents for them
Ma'am,
that I didn't.
you gave them two very important numbers that nobody should just give away: your EIN number and your social security number.
I agree.
Connected to your address, connected to your date of birth. So
But every
everything
loan
that
I've ever had, I had to sign for. I had to show ID. These are things that I thought were the standard across the board. I never imagined that somebody would be able to just sit down and be like, oh, I'm going to put this. 90% of the information that they have is available online. Like, I, that information, most of that information is public knowledge, except for my social security number and the other thing. Like, that's not, I don't understand how they would give you a loan without making sure it's you.
So have you heard recently that a lot of people have had issues with banks and, they'll say somebody came in and took money out of my bank account and the bank will say, well, did you give someone your PIN number? Oh yeah, but I gave it to them for such and such and such and such. Well, at that point, the bank says we gave you a way to secure your privacy and to secure your information and you gave it away to someone. So now we're not responsible if somebody took your money.
Right. But I would have had to have some sort of agreement with them for them to have permission to use my information. And I never gave them permission
Okay,
to
first
use
of
my
all,
information.
what you're talking about is permission, and what we're talking about is what somebody did. I don't know. You gave them your information. You went to somebody at a table somewhere who said, I can give you business credit. Just give me all of your information. And the same thing that they did to set up an American Express account and get a line of credit, you could have done, but you would have controlled it. You gave somebody that, I don't know why you think they'd be better at it than you would. You set up a whole company, but you didn't think you could establish credit for the business? I'm sorry, I'm picking up a lot of time to try and teach business law, but I don't have anything that disputes what Ms. Buckles' company is and client are able to establish. Now, I'm going to let her finish the hearing. I'll make a decision. You can talk to them about ways to handle this on the back end, but you're learning a very expensive lesson about how to safeguard your information. Because I can't give you advice, but I can point out the ways that things ain't adding up.
Right. Why would they give somebody a loan in my name and not verify that it's me? And then you're right. You're right.
I understand. It's a hard pill to swallow.
They gave one loan and then they gave another loan. Like that is
Well, because the first loan was the test. Are we going to be able to take the
they didn't
loan?
even pay it. I understand. I'm sorry. It just don't make no sense. Like how you just, if I go into a car dealership, I can't get nothing without showing them my documentation. This seems weird to me. This seems.
Actually, I just had that case on the last calendar. A guy said somebody took his ID and went and bought a car. So, that's what he says. I haven't.
I mean, if they had my ID and my signature and stuff, it would seem like they. I understand. I guess it's
All right. Anything else at this time, Ms. Buckle?
That's crazy.
Your Honor, I got knocked off, so I wasn't able to put my Exhibit P3 into evidence.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead if you wish to.
Okay. I just wanted to ask her something. Your address is 0273, right?
Yes.
And you just testified that your Laurie LLC is your company. You set up that company.
Yes.
And that is a credit repair company, right?
No.
Oh, it's not a credit repair company, but it's your company.
Correct.
And you also testify that you sign up with somebody and gave them your information because they were going to help you to establish credit.
Correct.
Right. So how were you supposed to get in touch with them?
That's what I told her. I
Sign up.
never paid them the money to complete the process, so I didn't get in touch with anybody.
So you gave them all
I filled out the paperwork. I turned it in. When I got to the end, they said, "Oh, it's this amount," and I said, "I don't want to pay it," and I didn't do it.
So you
And I
gave
walked
them
away from them.
you gave them all your personal information without establishing a business relationship with them. That's what you testified?
I just told the judge the same thing, ma'am.
And you say you don't. Where did you meet them?
And down the street at this event
Did you contact the event to at least follow up with the event when it comes to them?
No, I didn't even know that this was a thing. I didn't know that this happened. When I tried to call and figure out where this came from, the people just kept saying, "You owe the money. Do you acknowledge it?" And there was no way for me to acknowledge it. So there was no way for me to figure out that all of this had taken place or happened because I didn't get the information from them.
You got the email Exhibit P3 from American Express, right?
No.
So it's not your email address. That's what you're saying now?
What email address did you send it to? This is the information that I called to get before. Nobody would give me any information about it.
After you got the complaint, because the complaint was filed with basically everything. After you got the complaint and you got the contract, did you take that to the police station?
No, I went down to the courthouse and I told the people that I didn't recognize this information. And I filed it at the courthouse and told them that.
No, you're saying it's fraud. By the way, when did you sign up that information with that company that you don't remember?
When did I sign? I didn't even sign up with them. That's what I'm saying. I did not complete the process to sign up with them.
What's not making sense, Ms. Carr, is that you're saying you gave them your entire personal information and don't even remember the date? Are you being
I
financial with
understand what
them?
you're saying now. The judge already said that to me.
Your Honor, no
I
further
understand what
question.
you're saying. I see it now.
Your Honor, no
I
further
mean, she
question.
said it already. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, I was signing up for what I thought was a benefit for a business. It wasn't even like, and then I didn't pay for it, so I didn't think that they were going to be able to do anything. If you don't pay for a service, how does somebody provide you a service or do anything on your behalf?
Ms. Carr, because
Yes.
they weren't providing a service, ma'am. They were there to get information to defraud people, if that is in fact what happened. And so I see the frustration on your face, but we have become way too trusting. Somebody sets up a table, they don't even have a business that you can go into. Somebody sets up a table and says, here, fill out this form. I'm going to get you credit. And you give them all of the information that you can safeguard. So yeah, some of it may have been available online, but until you go to them, they don't put all the pieces together: your phone number, your date of birth, the social security card, your EIN number on your business. So they don't have all the pieces to do that, but you didn't get any information from them. You just gave them your information. So them not charging you, it didn't matter one way or the other. Once they got your information, they had everything they needed. Now, I'm sorry that that happened to you. All right. All right. So you don't have anything else, Miss Buckle?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So Miss Carr, I'm going to issue an order in this case. You'll get a copy of the order. Ms. Buckle will get a copy of the order for her client. And if you want to talk to Ms. Buckle to work anything out, then the address for both parties will be on the order. So if you want to get in contact with her, you can go ahead and seek her out. Okay.
Thanks, Your Honor.
When
All right.
you
Ms.
say
Buckle, did you have any information that would help her more easily speak with somebody about resolving this matter?
She could send me an email. I
Okay,
can
go ahead
always,
and
yeah.
chat her your email. So Miss Carr, Miss Buckle is going to chat you her email address. So when the chat comes up, you're going to see a red number next to the chat box. So when that comes up, write the information down before you get off the call, because once you get off the call, it's going to disappear. Okay.
okay.
All right. And Miss Carr, I just advise you, like, certain things you hold very close to you, and do a little research before, you do anything to provide somebody with your personal information. You want to always be sure that it's someone that you can trust. And if you are unsure, you can contact the Better Business Bureau. You can take their information and research them online. You can look for reviews of that particular company. So there are always ways to kind of protect yourself before you engage. Okay. Let me know when you've written down the information, and then you'll be free to go.
I have it.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Ms. Buckle, did you have anything else on the calendar?
No, Your Honor, that's it.
Okay, so